my experiences.
Hello, hello, hello.
I hope you enjoy this journey. Thanks for listening.
Hello, hello, hello. Guess who's back? I'm going to be reading a chapter out of my book today. Why Should You Care? Real life encouragement from real life experiences. Got some music playing in the background by G Strings. Have his full first album out, G Strings. That's G Strings, S-T-R-I-N-G-Z, G Strings. That's the music that's playing in the background. While I'm getting started, I just want to say I got to give my son a shout out. He has 2 children's books available on our website, pleasantinvestments.com. In digital download, the first one is The Battles of Electro Boy versus Fire Boy. It's green. And the second one is Electro Boy and Fire Boy Meets Again. Again, this is my son's second book. It's available on pleasantinvestments.com in digital download, where our digital downloads are always $5. You can always get a paperback copy via Amazon. And again, today I'm going to be reading out of this book. It's my second book. It's a nonfiction, kind of extension of my first memoir. Just about some real life things that happen and how to look at them through a positive perspective, how to see the glass as half full instead of half empty. And I'll talk real quick about my first book. It's also a nonfiction autobiography, All the Things That Nobody Told Me, Finding the Extraordinary in My Journey. Inside you'll find a lot of different struggles that I've went through and how I dealt with them from a positive perspective, how I constantly tried to see the glass half full. So you're going to connect if you're someone who has grown up in a family full of love, grown up in a community where everybody was involved in raising you, and if you've always visited your grandparents every summer, you're going to connect with this book and it's going to help you come back to gratitude. But again, this one's available in EPUB on my website, pleasantinvestments.com, and it's available via paperback on Amazon. Again, the music that's playing in the background is by G Strings. And today I'm going to read out of Why Should You Care? And a little bit before I get started about how I got started writing, it started about 2019. I was reading a autobiography by someone else, and I realized that her story was really good, and the way that she brought it to life, it really compelled me to start writing my story down. So little by little, I just kept writing a few sentences here and there. They turned into paragraphs, and before I knew it, I had a whole manuscript. So I finished my first book, which is this one, in 2020, and I published in 2021. And from then, I just got really addicted to writing. I'm still really enjoying writing. I just want to share my story with people. I want people to be connected by it, people to be encouraged by it, and to be uplifted by it. So without further ado, I'm going to read from my second nonfiction. And today I'm going to read out of chapter 3, titled, I Lived Through a Pandemic. I would not have imagined in all my life that I would be living in a time that is comparable to the bubonic plague of the 1300s. Not in the fact that we saw the numbers hit hundreds of millions in death toll, but in the fact that COVID virus was spread widely so rapidly. The number of COVID-related deaths being reported worldwide was astonishing, to say the least. When the COVID virus first hit the mainstream in March of 2020 here in Ohio, I thought for sure it wouldn't cause many disruptions. I hadn't even heard of the virus before then. It was around this time I first noticed the word COVID on a Lysol can. Because of the rising flu statistics, I thought COVID wouldn't be that concerning. After all, according to the CDC, an estimated 41 million people had flu-related illnesses the year of 2017-18 season. Of those numbers, 50,000+ people died from complications coupled with the flu illness. I vividly remember standing in the 8th grade social studies classroom of my job, watching CNN 10 announce the alarming data of the COVID-19 infection rates. Students were worried that school would be canceled if the data showed increased in the number of affected persons. I remember telling a few students who were discussing the possibilities, "You all have nothing to worry about. All you have to do is keep concentrating on school. It won't be canceled indefinitely." I was attempting to encourage them to let the adults do the worrying and figure out what the next step was so they could focus on their school task. Boy, was I wrong. It wasn't a day or two later that I got an email from my employer saying that school would be mandated to shut down indefinitely. Our government had given instruction for everyone to isolate. Just like that, we were helping students clean out their lockers, sift through what materials would be important to take home. It was so sad to see our students cleaning out their lockers while hugging each other with their goodbyes for now. Once the buildings were clear of students, staff had the next day or two to gather our belongings, teaching materials, get out of the building, and prepare to communicate with our students online. It was all hands on deck. Everyone was furiously overworking the copy machines, staplers, hole punchers, putting take-home packets together, assigning loaner Chromebooks to students by numbers, and so many other tasks to prepare students to learn remotely for the first time. We were all going home without a return date in sight. The entire staff was amazing at pitching in and organizing the pickup plans for students to get their learning materials. With just one announcement, our routines as we knew it had changed. At that time, I couldn't fathom the effect of all the children abruptly being told to stay in the house on short such notice. Also, how would parents be able to work efficiently with their children being home all day? I didn't even consider that adults in every non-essential arena would be told to stay home as well. And how can I not mention the essential workers who, amid all of the uncertainty, went into overtime mode to serve the overwhelming need of many people during this time. They were unselfish, leaving their children, family, and livelihoods daily to put themselves at risk for their communities. Who could imagine how this would work out? I know I couldn't. Once all the staff were at an acceptable level of preparedness, thanks to everyone pitching in and helping one another, off to our cars we went. I could not predict what the next few weeks would look like. I only knew that my world was flipped upside down. I slept in a little longer than normal on the days following my exodus. Each day I rose in time to join Zoom meetings, virtual classroom groups, and help students stay up to date with their online class assignments. One positive result of being home was being able to eliminate driving time and save for a little while. As the days continued, there were staff Zoom meetings, professional development classes, and other mental health check-ins occurred, and I became an IT person of sorts, trying to help troubleshoot students with their cameras, Wi-Fi issues, microphones, audio, and such things to keep learning going. I repeatedly sent personal chats to students to turn their cameras back on and to mute themselves when their brothers and sisters were in the background. I helped with the morale of the students by joining in on making entertaining videos by the staff for our kiddos to enjoy. These Zoom classes proved to be a little more difficult than a traditional classroom setting for me. It seemed way more challenging to engage middle school students' attention for very long with their families close in the background carrying on with life. I willingly took advantage of extra time that this COVID virus had extended me by cleaning my house from top to bottom. By cleaning, I mean taking all the canned goods out of the cabinets, wiping down and reorganizing, moving couches from against the walls to vacuum behind them, removing cushions to vacuum under them, taking up mattresses and flipping them over, cleaning underneath them, shampooing all the carpet in the house. And these were just a few of my cleaning tasks inside. I cleaned out air ducts and vents. I dusted bookshelves, sanitized doorknobs and light switches. When I looked around and came to the conclusion that no spot was left untouched, I realized it was only May and I would have the entire summer off from work. To my delight, I had finished all my inside tasks while working online. You see, school staff gets the entire summer off. But COVID had given us a break prior to the summer. So off to the outside of the house I went. I pulled weeds for days. I cut grass, trimmed bushes, and whatever else I could do to spruce up the outside. Once I finished and I kind of looked around and I was satisfied with myself, I took a couple of days to relax and take in the results from all my labors. Suddenly, all the free time wasn't looking as appealing as I originally thought it would be. Considering I was mostly confined to the house with almost every non-essential business closed, where could I go for my occasional sporadic outings? I'm the type of person who enjoys a schedule with some routine and staying occupied with substantial things. Before the mandate stay-at-home order, I had explored new places around the city. Staying at home was difficult for me since I was used to getting up and spontaneously going somewhere new to listen to music, open mic, eat somewhere new, or experience a new activity. I was not at all used to these limitations. It was not a good feeling, even though it seemed initially for the good of all. With non-essential businesses being closed the summer of 2020, it left me homebound after accomplishing all my summer duties in the spring. This had me wondering what I would do to stay busy and productive for the next unforeseeable months ahead. I still didn't know if I had to be back in the building for school by August. It wasn't long before I eventually exhausted all the shows I wanted to catch up on via Netflix, Prime, and Hulu. I have been taking daily walks or runs to get fresh air in the neighborhood and park since the shutdown began. Although the fresh air and exercise were beneficial, it was the same scenery repeatedly. I could only go to the grocery store so many times in a week just to get out of the house. An upside, if there was one, is that during these months of seclusion, I realized how grateful I was and for all I had in life. I was thankful I hadn't contracted the virus, the time I had to catch up, refresh, and refocus, and somehow I felt more valuable. I realized how much I needed to take care of myself mentally and physically, and appreciated my family life and much higher on the gratitude because of this pandemic. While others were significantly suffering, I was blessed to be able to continue to pay my bills, not worry about job security, and stay great in mental and physical health. I got to focus on things that were important to me. I wouldn't have had the time to focus on them during a normal work week. I began to sleep well. I continued to drink plenty of water. I talked and texted to check on my friends and family. I bonded with my son doing various activities, keeping him occupied. I read my Bible and prayed daily, and so many other things that calmed and replenished my spirit. I even finished my first manuscript and was ready to publish my first book, the autobiography titled All the Things That Nobody Told Me, Finding the Extraordinary in My Journey. There were some extraordinary circumstances going on in the world at this time. It seemed the world all around me was in complete shambles. Excuse me. There were some who were suffering because of the mandate that took away the freedom to conduct business. I understood why so many pushed back against this executive order. It kept millions of people from providing for their families. There were so many roadblocks that already keep thousands of people from even starting their own business because of ridiculous fees and hoops that you have to jump through to begin with. Many have persevered only to have their business snatched away during the mandate lockdown of 2020. Without being able to conduct business, many had no cash flow to pay leases and other related business expenses. College education is so expensive, and if you're one of the lucky ones that can go, you may end up in an unrelated field or in student loan debt for many years after you complete your degree. As beneficial as college experience is, it should be more affordable for all those to attend. Thousands of people depend on their degrees to earn a living. Then in 2020, so many were kept from using those degrees. Unfortunately, during the peak of the pandemic, I also witnessed so much division on different mandates happening all around me. It seemed we were a country divided among wearing or not wearing a mask, and then later receiving or not receiving a vaccine. There seemed to be a part of the population living on the extreme side of fear of catching COVID and how it may result in health complications or death. This group seemed to have followed the health ordinances precisely, while the other parts preferred to be completely oblivious to all the data or didn't believe the reports at all. This group focused more so on their civil liberties. During this time, they continued to have large gatherings or parties, continued to travel, and chose not to mask while doing so. Many others fell somewhere in between, siding with caution. Later during the pandemic, I was at the grocery store and observed from time to time some shoppers refusing to wear masks in stores upon request. Patience was seemingly thin everywhere. And who can forget the toilet paper and paper towel shortage? I felt that I was somewhere in between the scale because I knew the virus was serious and took certain precautions, but I also knew that I didn't want to stop living my life because of it. I was sure to use my best judgment when it came to how I would protect myself, my son, and others. Agree or disagree, I'm sure many others did what they felt was best for them. It was an eye-opening time to see the divided people everywhere and how they stood on this topic. It led me to think about all the other topics we as people disagree on. How can we respectfully deal with anyone or any other way effectively? Are we able to thrive among such division? I believe humanity is continuing to answer those questions. I had begun to feel the real effects of COVID in June when my travel plans got canceled and my utility bills were steadily increasing with me and my son being home all day instead of work and school. That meant I had to find a way to pay the usage jumps without an increase in my salary. Before the virus, I didn't even have internet at my house. Because of moving to online school and work in March, I had to add that expense as well. I needed it both for myself and my son to continue working and so that my son wouldn't fall behind at his new online education. For some reason, food magically started disappearing from the fridge and cabinets at an alarming rate. Just kidding. We ate more frequently being home all day too. As I look back, I realized that all those additional expenses occurred without a pay raise. I must give honor to God for keeping me during those uncertain times. I cannot fathom the added stress this put on many people's day-to-day lives who are already struggling to make ends meet. I only had to adjust for a family of 2. My expenses were only marginal compared to those who have larger families and what they were experiencing. This may look similar to what a lot of other people were experiencing through the pandemic, or it may not. But I thought to myself at the time, I have my faith in God. I couldn't imagine how different it would be for other people with no faith. My faith allowed me to put my trust in God regardless of the data from the media that seemed to be purposefully inducing fear multiple times per day. I kept thinking of the Bible verse that states, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. I prayed for those who were losing their family members and friends to the virus. Innumerable people who had my sympathy during this period. My heart went out to so many people losing their jobs, homes, businesses, and financial security. But I held close to that Bible verse and several others throughout that unforgettable season. Amid all that was occurring all around the globe, school started back that August online. A few months later, we went back hybrid style. Hybrid learning was a bit different. Staff were only interacting with 50% of the student population in attendance each day. This decision helped to distance students from the classroom and throughout the building. At the time, I felt that I should have been prepared for the uncertainty to continue. More than ever, I wanted to be on guard about the possibilities that could lie ahead. Possibilities like another government-ordered shutdown, or what I would have in place for income loss. For example, it makes me work harder towards building up financial safety nets and human relationships. Would things ever go back to normal? I had a feeling that our new normal would look different than it did pre-COVID. I thought to myself, what is normal anyway? At any moment, our world could shatter, shake, or be turned upside down. Life can be affected by tragedy, or war, among other things. At times, our lives change for the better. Maybe a promotion, a winning lottery ticket, a surprise pregnancy, or a college degree. I wondered if this COVID experience would help us permanently change our routines for the betterment of all. Or would it soon be back to business as usual after things settle down? Only time could tell. My hope is that all of us who live to see the other side of this pandemic will cherish more, realize who or what is important in life, and learn to work together in our homes and communities. I hope this experience will be more than just a thing of a past. At the height of so many problems, we tend to be on guard and unite for a common purpose. Then with time, we so easily forget what we've just gone through and how we've worked together to accomplish amazing goals. We will certainly have some growing pains and adjustments to make both our professional and personal lives. Who knows the lasting effect of COVID-19 will have on our world in the future? What will future history books say about this time period? I know one thing. The lines are longer at the grocery stores, fast food lanes, drive-through teller machines, and many other service industries. Shipping shortages, product outages, lean staffing, and furloughs are just a few of the burdens we are all living with. During these long waits, I try to be grateful that someone showed up for work, albeit waiting in long lines. I'm thankful that I have the money to pay for the items that I need, so I try hard not to complain that customer service isn't speedy anymore. Although I must admit I'm not 100% at it yet. I try to remember this experience may have soured some people's general outlook on our government, politicians, their own families or friends, and life. Others will be permanently scarred from this experience. It will be hard not to, after one remembers how they were treated for whatever stance they took on the decisions that they made during this time. Whenever new struggles and tough times occur in the future, I hope that we remember the empathy, compassion, and patience we showed each other throughout this unprecedented experience. I heard the president say recently that our economy is stronger than ever. I also heard it said that the truth is subjective. But how far can that be taken? When I visit the grocery stores, I see firsthand how prices have increased 20, 30, 35% on most of the items I have bought repeatedly. Along with the price increases came a decrease in the size of some of the containers. It's obvious to me that the president or politicians who claim the economy is doing great don't do the family grocery shopping or can afford not to look at the bill. There is no other way to see situations like this except as they are. We only need to talk to a neighbor, family member, or friend who has lost a job, business, or livelihood in a short amount of time to see how the economy is. With the likelihood of these adversities continuing, I'm doing several things to plan for the shifts in our economy and would recommend my readers to do the same. I'm attempting to save a little extra money, buy a little extra non-perishables, and to try to eliminate some unnecessary spending. I work on ways to create a second income, such as my books. And you may be doing some of these things, or you may be doing something totally different, like getting involved with politics and campaigning in your community. Or maybe you're starting a community garden, or collecting reusable items to give away, or gathering signatures for a petition to make the change you want to see. The main idea is to do something in preparation for things we can't always control, but hope to improve. We must all play our part in what we are passionate about. I'm convinced that if we all take our sections of the bigger parts, then all will be improved for the better. I heard a quote recently that said, "Motivation can fade in an instant. Inspiration can last as long as you stay inspired." Whenever life begins to feel overwhelming, and believe me, it will, I remember that I've lived through a pandemic. You share the same victory because you are reading these words. Because we survived to see the other side of this worldwide virus, let's not waste a minute. We beat the odds. So let's take whatever inspiration as far as we can with the gratitude of surviving a pandemic. That was a reading from my second book, Why Should You Care? Real life encouragement from real life experience. So if you love nonfiction, if you love autobiography, if you love encouragement, if you love uplifting, if you love like thought-provoking discussions, then this is the book for you. It is available at pleasantinvestments.com in digital format for $5. Pleasantinvestment.com digital downloads are always $5. If you prefer paperback, you can go to Amazon.com to get a copy as well. So I appreciate all those that have joined me. Does anyone have any questions in the comments? I'm looking through. Thanks for joining. The music in the background is G strings, G-stringz, G strings. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Again, I just want to say my first book is also available at pleasantinvestments.com and digital download for $5. And also, I got to give my son a shout out. I'm proud of him. His first book is on pleasantinvestments.com and digital download for $5. And also his second book. So I appreciate everybody joining for the reading out of my second book. I hope you will go to my website and support, or either pick up a paperback copy from Amazon. We got Mother's Day coming up. It'll make a special gift to anyone who likes to read nonfiction. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.